They say power is loud. It arrives with armor, with iron, with fear. But one ruler decided power should glide, spin, smile, and that decision would turn his palace into something no empire had ever seen before. Not a fortress, a stage. This is the strange and chilling story of the ruler who replaced his guards with dancers. Our story begins in ancient Rome, under the reign of one of history's most unpredictable emperors, Caligula. Rome expected a god king. What they got was a nightmare wrapped in silk. Caligula did not trust soldiers. To him, guards were not protectors. They were threats waiting to happen. Men with weapons were men with power, and he wanted no one to hold power but himself. So instead of surrounding himself with armored warriors, he made a decision no emperor before him had ever dared. He dismissed his traditional bodyguards and replaced them with performers, dancers, actors, musicians, people who could spin faster than they could strike. At first, the empire laughed. Then they grew uneasy. Imagine entering the palace expecting steel and shields, and instead finding flowing robes, painted faces, and music echoing through marble halls. Where guards once stood rigid and silent, now artists bowed and twirled. Rome didn't know whether to clap or run. But what looked like madness was strategy. Because while soldiers protect the body, performers control the mind. Caligula didn't want loyalty. He could measure in blades. He wanted eyes, ears, emotion. His dancers were not entertainers. They were watchers, eavesdroppers, spies in silk. Every step they took around the palace was monitored. Every whispered joke got reported. Every laugh could be logged. Caligula turned art into surveillance and performances into protection. But twists of fate demand their own price. When danger came, the dancers couldn't stop blades. When rebellion brewed, music couldn't silence it. And when an emperor makes spectacle more important than security, the curtain eventually falls. Caligula's enemies grew bolder. Rome felt them balance. The empire could sense it. Something was wrong. In public, the palace glittered with jewel-lit shows and endless celebration. In private, Caligula was alone, surrounded by applause, but unguarded by loyalty. And then one day, the impossible happened. Members of his original guard returned, not to serve, but to kill. Caligula was assassinated in a corridor of his own palace, stabbed by the very protectors he once pushed aside. The dancers were still there. The music still echoed, but no one danced that night. No performance could save him. No beauty could block betrayal. And the empire learned a brutal truth. You can decorate power, but you cannot replace it. Caligula died surrounded by luxury, but stripped of protection. The ruler who traded shields for dancers lost his throne to silence. But the story doesn't end with his blood on palace stone, because Caligula didn't just replace guards with dancers. He replaced reality with illusion. Inside his palace, truth became flexible. Rumors were staged. Praise was rehearsed. Even threats were performed. He forced senators to attend endless shows where humiliation was comedy and cruelty was treated like art. He made nobles dance for their lives. He turned his court into theater where every role was written in fear. And he was the only one allowed to improvise. The emperor once paraded his favorite horse through the palace like royalty, dressed it in jewels, fed it delicacies from gold bowls, and whispered that the animal understood loyalty better than any man ever could. Every laugh around him was forced, every silence dangerous. The dancers learned not just how to move, but when not to breathe. Some of them vanished between performances, never announced, never buried, never mentioned again. In Caligula's Rome, beauty was a blade with glittering edges. His palace wasn't guarded by strength. It was defended by spectacle. He blinded his enemies with music, buried doubt beneath applause, and drowned suspicion in wine and silk. But here's the part no storybook tells you. Power doesn't disappear when it's ignored. It waits. The soldiers he fired did not forget. The senators he mocked did not forgive. The empire he embarrassed did not sleep. While Caligula danced through illusion, his enemies sharpened reality. And the night he died, there was no warning music, no dramatic lights, no final performance, just feet on stone, breaths held in shadow, and steel moving where silk once ruled. History remembers him as insane, but the truth is darker. Because Caligula wasn't mad. He was afraid of betrayal, afraid of power he couldn't see, afraid of the very guards he replaced. And in the end, that fear did what no enemy army could. It opened the door. So when history whispers about the ruler who replaced guards with dancers, it isn't telling a strange story. It's warning you, because power built on beauty still bleeds. Control built on illusion still shatters. And applause will never stop a knife. If this story surprised you, disturbed you, or twisted what you thought about power, you're in the right place. Subscribe for more strange, dark, and unbelievable real stories, where history stops being polite and starts being dangerous.